Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. One of the things that I mentioned in my very last video is that Gary Gensler, after being approved as SEC chair over 2 years ago, was on video articulating that the SEC did not have power to regulate cryptocurrency exchanges. He literally stated that Congress did not give the power to the SEC to do such a thing. So, of course, the fact that Gary Gensler on Monday sued Binance and then the very next day sued Coinbase, the fact that he did that along with the SEC, the rest of the SEC, it makes it completely absurd. Now, I'm not surprised because I don't think that any of these people here are acting in good faith. But that's not the only thing. Look at this news that broke last night. Here's a headline from CNBC. Binance lawyers allege SEC Chair Gensler offered to serve as advisor to crypto company in 2019. So I'm going to start the video by sharing with you what Attorney John Deaton had to say about this, and then I'll give you the rest of the specifics here. But obviously, clearly, this is not going to look so good for Kim Jong Gensler here. So why might it be that his stance has flipped? So he wanted to work with Binance. He wanted to be an advisor just several years ago. Now he thinks that Binance is doing something wrong. Did he learn something super slimy about Binance since then? Come on, folks. Obviously, he thought that it was a good company and wanted to work with them. And now, just doing the jurisdictional land grab thing. So I'm going to share with you the latest. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so upon this news breaking last night, John Deaton's initial response was he simply wrote, as you can see in all caps here, "Please be true." He wants this to be true because it's not a good look for Gensler. And I wouldn't be surprised if indeed that it is, because it'd be a weird thing to make up, especially when you see where it came from, which I'll get to in just a minute here. And then in a separate tweet, less than an hour later, Attorney John Deaton shared a CNBC article on this, and he wrote the following. "I've watched and fought bullies my entire life. Gensler is the quintessential bully. He's the boy who didn't get picked to play the first full-court basketball game, so he took his ball and left. I've talked to people who have been in the room with him, and he insists on showing everyone he's the smartest guy in the room. The same child prodigy that became the youngest partner in Goldman Sachs history. He's disliked by everyone. He was cutting a deal with the biggest fraudster in crypto, Sam Bankman-Fried, and ready to give a regulatory advantage to FTX, an offshore exchange, while screwing Coinbase, an American exchange. Gary Gensler is a bad man, full stop." That one gets a cold clap there. Absolutely. This guy is an absolute monster as far as I'm concerned. And then the rest of the attorney cronies working at the SEC, as far as I'm concerned, they are just spawns of Satan. That's basically it here. So digging into the piece now, again, the headline here from CNBC, Binance lawyers allege SEC Chair Gensler offered to serve as advisor to crypto company in 2019. SEC Chair Gensler, who is in the midst of a hefty crackdown on crypto companies, offered to serve as an advisor to Binance's parent company in 2019, according to the lawyers for Binance and founder Changpeng Zhao, or CZ for short, of course. Documents filed by the SEC on Wednesday indicate that attorneys from Gibson, Dunn, and Latham Watkins, two of Binance's law firms, allege that Gensler offered to serve as an advisor to the crypto exchange in several March 2019 conversations with Binance executives and CZ. He eventually met Zhao in Japan for lunch later that month, the filing claims. So folks, he's literally sitting down having lunch with CZ, founder and CEO of Binance, hoping to have an opportunity to work there, because at the time he didn't know that he'd end up having the opportunity to be supreme leader and dictator at the SEC, which he now is. So obviously he wasn't operating in a good faith. He's certainly not now. He may have been very honest about his interest back then, but just showing the true colors here. What an awful creature this Gensler is. Piece continues. At the time, Gensler was teaching at Massachusetts Institute of Technology's Sloan School of Management. He was appointed head of the SEC in 2021 by President Biden, and over the past year has come down hard on the crypto industry, suing numerous companies for allegedly selling unregistered securities. Earlier this week, the SEC filed 13 charges against Binance and CZ, alleging the company failed to register as an exchange and broker-dealer, improperly commingled funds, and lacked critical internal controls over its business. Before Gensler started going after Binance, he was trying to cozy up to the company, the lawyers say. The Wall Street Journal previously reported on Gensler and Binance's relationship, citing internal Binance messages and a person close to the SEC chair. Both suggested that Binance approached Gensler. In the latest filing, the Gibson and Latham attorneys say that Zhao continued to stay in touch with Gensler after the March meeting. By the way, I'll just pause to note, regardless of what the case is, whether CZ approached Gensler first or the other way around, I don't care. The point is Gensler wanted a piece of that. And so I don't know ultimately why it fell through here, but to have that level of interest, kind of noteworthy, given that he's now suing Binance. Would it be completely ridiculous, and I'm not proposing that this is the case, but wouldn't it be completely ridiculous if CZ ended up turning down Gensler, and now here we are years later, and Gensler is running the SEC suing Binance? So maybe he's just being a little petulant child. That would be something. Not that I'm predicting that. I'm just saying. Anyway, Peace continues. And at the future SEC chair's request, CZ sat down for an interview with Gensler as part of a cryptocurrency course he was teaching at MIT. The SEC on Tuesday described CZ, who reportedly resides in the UAE, as a foreign national with a tendency for geographic elusiveness. Zhao's lawyers now say that the CZ understood that Gensler was comfortable serving as an informal advisor. Later in 2019, the letter said Gensler was slated to testify before the House Financial Services Committee, and he sent CZ a copy of his intended testimony ahead of the hearing. In July of that year, Gensler testified before the House over Facebook's proposed and later canceled Libra and its planned Calibra wallet. I do not advise any financial, technology, blockchain, or other companies, nor do I own any cryptocurrency, Gensler's prepared testimony read. Gensler's advice to lawmakers at the time was largely the same as his public statements today. He said that, with Facebook envisioning a wallet to store customer assets, rules needed to be in place to guard against Calibra's use or potential abuse of such customer funds, end quote. Yeah, so look, there are notable things where Gensler, what he says he believes today, is in direct contradiction to what he has stated in the past. For instance, I can't remember if it was 2018 or 2019, but he literally stated that there was not sufficient regulatory clarity specifically for XRP. He literally said that. And so it's just another example. So you can find stuff. It's not like literally every single thing that he said 4 or 5 years ago, he has the opposite position now. But the point is, there are some very crucial things that he changed his position on. And it just happens to further this mission of the SEC's jurisdictional land grab. So does that look like somebody that's operating in good faith? Or does that look like somebody that's an asshat prick? You tell me in the comment section below. Peace continues. He also testified more broadly in language that resembles his latest pronouncements. Quote, "We must guard against illicit activities such as tax evasion, money laundering, terrorist financing, and avoiding sanctions," he said at the time. "We must protect individuals' privacy." Because of Gensler's ties to CZ, Binance's lawyers said they'd ask for his recusal from any actions regarding the company. They say they got no acknowledgement from SEC staff. Yeah, how about that? Well, that's kind of, it kind of plays into this concept of what I was saying before. Isn't it kind of ridiculous if there's that type of relationship? And then what? We're just supposed to expect that Gensler's actually genuinely unbiased after all that? I'm a little skeptical. I'm a little bit skeptical there. And then they wrap up the article by stating, an SEC spokesperson said in a statement to CNBC that the chair is very familiar with and in full compliance with his ethical obligations, including any recusal obligation. Oh, is that right? Well, because we all trust so much, that recusals are always made when they need to be. Like with Billy Boy Hinman, right? Given that Ethereum free pass speech. Oh, wait, never mind. Never mind. That didn't happen, did it? Oh, man. Then they state the SEC's probes into Binance US and Binance began in 2020 and 2021. respectively, well after Gensler and Zhao's last alleged contact. Yeah, but I don't think that matters at all. He's still in charge, and there should be, wouldn't you think, wouldn't it make sense for there to be some sort of recusal here? This is just bizarre stuff here. But again, when you have somebody running in a just despicable government agency like this, not operating in good faith, like what do you expect? This is the type of thing that we should come to expect. What a bunch of garbage. So we'll see what happens here. Do you think Gary Gensler's going to recuse himself? Anything having to do with this? Because maybe, but I'm not optimistic for that. I'll just say that. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.